Hello my friends and welcome back. It's Friday, so happy Friday to you. Last video in Monday's June also. Have you already gotten the book of everything I did in Ukraine in my 8 missions? If you didn't, go and get it for yourself and your grandmother. We begin today with wonderful news for me and wonderful news for you, but not so much for the Russian military logistics, because Ukrainians now have finally started striking Russian army fuel trains. Yes, Russia built an entire new railway line from occupied southern Ukraine, basically from Crimea to mainland Russia, hogging the Azov Sea coast. But in this case, 2 days ago, Ukrainians had a little bit of fun striking these fuel trains that have been running non-stop. New Russian video of train attack from a few days ago, Molochansk, and in this video we can actually see a Russian soldier trying to save the train with his Kalashnikov, trying to shoot down these drones. These are regular FPV drones, by the way, hitting a massive fuel train. We're talking 40 fuel wagons, how do you call them? I don't know. See, they're burning here already, and there were some vehicles accompanying this fuel train, defensive vehicles. They were burned also, but obviously they were not able to shoot down FPV drones with Kalashnikovs. And it's really beautiful. 14 FPVs were used. Russians claim they shot down 9, while 5 successfully reached their targets. Following the initial strike, the train was forced to stop, prompting personnel to uncouple 19 rail cars for risk mitigation. These detached rail cars were subsequently struck in a follow-on UAV attack, resulting in the destruction of 4 tank cars. Tank cars, oil tanks, that's how they're called, which were completely burned out. In addition, the FPVs targeted vehicles accompanying the fuel train. And also I want to show you these videos. You can see how massive this train actually is. I mean, fuel trains usually are really massive. We used to have these very same Russian fuel trains going through Estonia before 2022. Yes, they were going to Europe, not anymore. Look at that. What a big little caterpillar right here. And it's burning beautifully. Nice little oil barbecue. Here it goes up in flames. You can see one of the oil tanks being hit. And it's filled with fuel. I mean, if it burns, it burns. You cannot put it out because it's fuel. It burns to the ground. So yeah, this is a beautiful, beautiful strike by the Ukrainians. Continuing on the topic of Ukrainians striking Russian oil and gas, well, in this instance it's a gas station in Belgorod. Since the Russians are striking civilian infrastructure all the time, everywhere, for example in Kherson they're striking gas stations with drones and also civilians, well, Ukrainians now struck back finally. This little Ukrainian FPV is going to hug this Russian gas station in Belgorod. Bada bim, bada boom, delivering a little present to it. Here is another one in Belgorod, rendering it useless. By the way, what's interesting about this mission is that Russians actually captured the feed of the Ukrainian drones and watched them ram into these gas stations live at the same time when they had this feed. They couldn't control it, they captured the picture. See, this is Russians watching Ukrainian drones from their devices ramming into Russian gas stations. Very strange situation. But that's not it, my friends. The Top Shop commercial continues because Ukrainians also struck a Russian military base. Yes, a full military base located in the Kursk district, Kursk Oblast Korenevsky district inside Russia. A large fire was reported, and you can see where it was on the map right here. And the fire beyond the woods looks like that. Of course, Russians are photographing and filming everything that burns inside Russia for us, because it warms my heart to watch these flames, and I'm glad the Russians do that. My friends, today I would like to introduce you to #1 news comparison site in the whole world, Ground News. And I chose a very specific piece of news which is absolutely massive, because 1st of June was the date where Ukrainian drones destroyed 1/3 of Russian nuclear-capable Tu-95's fleet. And I have this piece of news right here. Zelensky says audacious strikes on Russian air bases will go in history books. Where did I find it? Will you go to Ground News homepage? I clicked for you, and here I have two topics chosen for me specifically, Ukraine and Ukraine war, and it gets all these topic news for me right in front, so it's easy to find it. Now Ground News lays out right in front of your eyes different charts on the right here. We begin with the coverage details. Total news sources right now is 17, but it's gonna be a lot bigger, believe me. 44% leaning right, which brings us to the bias distribution chart, which is next. 33% leaning left, and it's all nicely and beautifully visualized for you, so it's easy to understand. Below that, we have the factuality chart, which says if it's mixed factuality, low or high factuality. This specific one is 56% high factuality, nothing below that is worth my time. And of course, below that, you get the ownership tab, because every owner has their own agenda. Is it owned by a person, a media conglomerate? Is it owned by an organization? They all have their own ideas to push. Right, and here you get all the articles with different titles, different wordings in the headline. For example, lean right. Check out this title. Zelensky hails brilliant drone strikes on Russian airfields. And also they give you the ownership with a special little color right here. They give you the factuality. For example, this one is mixed, so I'm not going to click on it. I'm not going to devote my time to this one. Has to be high factuality. Politically, it has to be in the center, and then I'll read it. By the way, my friends, for a limited time, you can get the very same plan I am using, but for half the price. Just go to ground.news/Artur or scan the QR code on the screen to get their unlimited access Vantage plan for just $5 a month. Or you can gift it to someone you know and have more informed conversations. Call out one-sided narratives and think critically about the stories shaping our world. I can only promote brands I vet, so I think you will find Ground News as valuable as I do. Thank you, Ground News, for sponsoring today's video. My friends, Russians released a video of them being very proud about their bike logistics. Yes, a lot of the logistics is done by bikes now because they're fast and agile and they're harder to hit with FPVs. Well, in this instance, they brag, and I quote, "We deliver provisions to the line of combat contact in a timely manner. Victory will be ours." And look at that bike. It seems very capable. The guy seems very capable. The tires are massive. I mean, this goes through mud and everything, but let's see them put it to the test. Russian bike logistics, my friends. It seems like the whole invasion is symboled in this video right here. For victory, full throttle, and then to the pushes, that's it. In this instance, I would like to show you what a Russian world really is, because in Donetsk, Ukrainian Donetsk, there was nice amenities, buses running, clean drinking water, heat, everything worked. And then Russia occupied it in 2015, I think, correct me if I'm wrong here. And now the water looks like that. It's brown. No, it's not hot chocolate, my friends. I wish it was. It's brown, muddy, bad water that you cannot drink or use in any way. So Russians are notorious for not maintaining any kind of infrastructure, any kind of piping, whatever it is, railway lines. It will turn like that. I mean, it's only 10 years of Russian world. Ruski Mir, the Russian miracle, and you have brown drinking water. I wouldn't be surprised if this is actually poop here. I mean, it's Russia, who knows? I mean, it's occupied Donetsk by Russians. That's what they bring. Brown water for you to drink. A Ukrainian drone captured a very interesting shot on the front lines. Now, this is above the tree lines, as you can see from the video, but notice these fiber optic cables going even a few meters above the tree lines, covering not only the grass and fields, but the trees themselves. Look at that, almost a non-stop field of fiber optic wire all across these forests. Everywhere. This stuff doesn't decay. And some people say, oh, wire it back. You can reuse it. No, you cannot, my friends. Fiber optic cable will break if you bend it in any kind of meaningful way. It's not that resilient. You cannot break it by pulling it like that, but if you bend it, it breaks immediately. So you cannot really wire it back. This is useless. It's garbage now. It's waste. but it's waste that will decay for 10,000 years. So this is, I would call it ecological disaster actually. How you gonna collect it? It's above the tree lines in one great layer. How are you gonna collect it? I wonder. Now, my friends, I'll introduce you yet to another Russian Frankenstein invention. They always try out new designs, and if something works, they will mass produce it on the front. In this instance, they're trying to be Sonic the Hedgehog or something like that, because this is whatever, a meatloaf, Russian meatloaf van, right? But it's filled with these iron spikes, which are supposed to be anti-drone capabilities. But I mean, let's be honest, you've seen how Russian infantry moves on the front. They come out of this meatloaf and they run around the truck like crazy, and the truck maneuvers like crazy and abandons them. So if any kind of these troops even touches this truck, they will be pierced. Let me tell you, this is a friendly fire truck. I mean, this is going to be very dangerous for the infantry coming out of it. Very dangerous. There's a reason they don't do this. Because you will hurt your own guys on the front. I would love to see videos of that. You don't even need Ukrainian drones. These spikes will do it. Now let's take a brief look into Ukrainian military innovation, because they're trying to produce majority of everything themselves. Of course, right now they produce about 60% of what they use on the battlefield themselves. They definitely don't produce anti-air missiles or anti-air missile systems at all. They're all Western. The newest development is that they developed a glide kit for the plane bombs. Unguided, dumb plane bombs, as you would call them, just me and you. Well, glide kits, or the US has JDAMs. Ukrainians developed a similar kit, augmenting unguided bombs to be precision-guided bombs. The kit operates similar to the US-made JDAM. It enables to hit targets at a range of 60 kilometers. An upgraded version with a range of 80 kilometers and more is under development. This is what it looks like. I want to read you one comment I found. Why are you developing something we already gave you? He means the Americans. You just used it on the Su-27. Are you changing the color, stickers perhaps? Well, it's a very good question. Maybe some people don't understand, but United States aid and JDAMs and everything they give is invaluable. It's really good, but it's unpredictable, certainly with Trump leading the US. So Ukraine might get the JDAMs from the US, but first of all, they're not getting the amount they need. And second of all, it's very unpredictable and unsafe to rely on US for these capabilities. I mean, Russia is using plane bombs to a very great effect, devastating effect to Ukrainian soldiers. They're dropping over 100 a day and they hit with pinpoint accuracy. So Ukraine needs the same weapon, but the entire West doesn't have enough plane bombs to give to them. So they need to make their own. Doesn't matter that US is able to give like 20, 30, 50 JDAMs a month. It doesn't make a difference. You need thousands. So this is why they're making it. They're also making small arms fire. They're also making mines themselves, although US is giving them claymores and anti-tank mines. You need to make your own weapons. That's how it is. That's the best defense you have, your own military-industrial complex. And there's a video about it also. See, it's being dropped, it opens the wings and glides to the Russian positions, delivering presents to them. That's what it looks like when it's in the air. And I mean, knowing it's the Ukrainians who developed it, I'm telling you, this is a fraction of the cost of the JDAM. I think it might be as precise, but with a fraction of the cost, because Ukrainians are really good at cutting the costs, but delivering the same result. My friends, now let's take a look at the Sumy Offensive, or you could call it the Russian Summer Offensive of 2025. The Russian offensive going on right now, the main offensive, the thing everybody was talking about, 50,000 Russian troops in the Sumy Oblast, invading Ukraine from the north. It's a whole new offensive happening in the last 2 months. Let's zoom into the area, and I just want to let you know how big of the offensive, or actually how small of it is it. Now, I promise you, I'm not gonna just demote it or make fun of it, because that's what I do. It's a failure. They have 50,000 troops. I'll zoom out. This is all they managed to do with it in the last 2 months. And now the offensive has stalled and Ukrainians are slowly pushing them out of the Sumy Oblast. Their goal is to take Sumy, the city, but surround it first. Sumy is a big city in northern Ukraine. Very big one, actually. And this is, let's go back 1 month so you can see how these 50,000 Russian soldiers have done. You can see the front line moving slowly, very slowly. We're talking about, what, 50 square kilometers, which is like 7-8 clicks straight forward and to the sides. And boom, it started, okay, sorry, yeah, 1 month, 23rd of May it started. You can see they struck into Sumy. So they're very slowly advancing. And that's it. Now we get to June. Very slowly, and now Ukrainians have started to push back even. With that, I want to read you what Syrsky, the chief of staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, has said about the Russian summer offensive. Commander-in-Chief Alexander Syrsky stated that the Russian advance in the border areas of Sumy region have been halted. The line of combat has been stabilized. Our units are conducting active defense and liberating Ukrainian lands. According to Syrsky, another summer wave of offensive by Russia has failed, just like last year. The enemy's offensive actions in the Kharkiv region have also brought no results. About 50,000 enemy personnel, including elite airborne and marine units, were tied down by the actions of the Ukrainian armed forces in northeastern, oh my god, I cannot say the name of this, Zabojansk-Shishina, Kursk region. The point is, it has failed. Russia brought their best units to take Sumy. Putin even said it out loud about 2 weeks ago, 1.5 I think, that he does not rule out taking Sumy, but they're not able to. Some people think Russians have a secret army or they're holding back. No. 2025 summer offensive started in Sumy. This is what they prepared for their whole winter. They moved all of these units. Let's click on 177th. We have 83rd. We have 51st. 810th, 137th, 56th Air Assault Regiment. These units have been stalled here, they have been stopped, and now Ukraine is counterattacking. So I will say it on this channel now, Russian 2025 summer offensive in Sumy has failed. What better to illustrate this point even more I will show you now 15 soldiers from the 155th Naval Infantry Brigade, which is like a semi-elite forces of Russian, it was before the full-scale invasion, now not so much, but these 15 soldiers surrendered and they're now in Ukrainian captivity, they're POWs. Lucky for them, because now they're gonna get 3 hot meals a day. Wasn't the case in the Russian army. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna show you, but the point is, their offensive now has run to a halt, or grounded to a halt, as you say in English, I think. And now Ukrainians are poking back. Also, why take my word for it or Syrsky's word for it? Let me just read you what Russians themselves from this very front are talking about in the Sumy offensive. Now a little more detail about what is happening in the Sumy direction. A black day for the Marines. In Melitopol, the 810th Brigade was hit hard. Many were killed and about a platoon was captured. A little less than a platoon. I think he's talking about those 15 guys I just showed you. But that doesn't make it any easier. We had to leave Andreevka. The 155th Marine Brigade was unable to correct what the command of the 30th allowed. Andreevka is completely under Huhoil's. Ohoil is like the bad word Russians use for Ukrainians. There is fighting in Alexeyevka. There are no changes in Yunakovka yet, but now we're trying to hold our positions rather than move forward, which confirms from the Russians themselves that this offensive has grinded to a halt, which is one step before Ukraine start taking territory back. Near Dyotkino, the commanders are driving from Klushkova along the railroad to the treatment facilities, but damn, first solve the problem with the drones. So many people have already been killed for no reason. And now it gets interesting. Check it out. Also, how tired I am of their aviation. They fly like Jews in Iran. That's a compliment, first of all, to the Ukrainians. And second of all, to the Israelis. flying their 12-day war in Iran, striking 55 different locations very effectively with F-35s and then with American B-2s of B-21s. So they fly like Jews in Iran. They're not afraid of anything, and their accuracy has increased. Something definitely needs to be done. And this message from the Russians, from the Sumy Offensive, frontline Sumy Offensive, concludes the report about the Sumy Offensive, and now you know it has failed, it is stalled. Give it another 2 months and Ukrainians will push them out of the Sumy Oblast. We will go on with this video. I just want to let you know a little bit of information. My friends, I'll be taking a break in July. I need a break. I'm taking a break. So, sunbathing and whatever is I need to do. Because in autumn, I know I will be called up to the Estonian military. So I have to go. So this might be, you know, one of my last opportunities to take a break. So I'm using it. Since I cannot turn back time, I gotta use it with my wife. And I gotta, you know, take that time for myself. I will be back for you on 1st of August, so please put it in your calendar, 1st of August, and I'll continue on Ukrainian updates. Now in July you will get videos. They're video essays, researched, thorough, and they're for members first, channel members, but then they will be made public for everybody later. So you will get videos, but they're not Ukrainian updates. They're, for example, analysis of Wagner in Africa or Russian naval infantry brigades, analysis of that. But Ukrainian updates will continue on August the 1st. So there will be, after this video, 2 more Ukrainian updates, and then from August the 1st. My friends, there was a big NATO summit. The biggest. It was a emergency summit, and Trump was there also. Every NATO member was there, and big outcomes. But I want to read you messages that Trump leaked to online. It's so weird that he leaks this stuff, but he needs, you know, he wants credit so bad. So the leader of NATO, Rutte, wrote to Trump, and Trump leaked the conversation online. Mr. President, dear Donald, congratulations and thank you for your decisive action in Iran. That was truly extraordinary and something no one else dared to do. It makes us all safer. Note the language. Rutte doesn't speak like that. This is specifically for Trump to appease him before the NATO summit, because, you know, we need him in NATO. But I mean, I don't like ass kissers, and Rutte seems to be one. You're flying into another big success in The Hague this evening. It was not easy, but we've gotten them all to sign on to 5%. Yes, my friends, after that NATO summit which just ended, all NATO members pledged to raise their military spending to 5% of GDP by 2035. This is massive. We're talking about 800 to 900 billion of military spending right now in Europe. It's going to be raised to 1.5 trillion, which is absolutely mind-blowingly massive. That is good. Now I continue with Rutte's ass licking. Donald, you have been driven us to a really, really important moment for America and Europe and the world. You will achieve something no American president in decades could get done. Again, it's spoken in Trump's own words. Rutte is trying to appease him so bad it makes me puke. I can't. Although I'm very much pro 5%. I'm glad they did that, but I just cannot stand the ass licking. Europe is going to pay in a big way. Oh my God. This is embarrassing for me as a NATO member, as Estonian, as they should, and it will be your win. Safe travels and see you at His Majesty's dinner, Mark Rutte. Damn, Mark, just have some dignity, have some spine, my God. Oh, this is pathetic. I feel like I have to apologize as on behalf of a NATO member for this. Anyway, let's move on from it. Good things came out of it. Everyone wins from a NATO summit, which just happened. It happened 3 days ago. NATO states raised defense spending to 5% to satisfy Trump. Yeah, but at least they're doing it. We did it before that, by the way. By the way, talking about Estonia, we are aiming over 5%, 5.4% by the way. We're passing Poland, meaning we're gonna be #1 GDP spender on military in all of NATO. We're gonna pass Poland. We don't take this lightly. Russia will attack Estonia next. Estonia is preparing for war. You know, that's my country. I'm in the reserve of this army. I will be called up this autumn, I know this, for training of course, but I will let you know when this happens. I have to pull back my uniform again. Estonia builds a new NATO base with US HIMARS. The army doubles its forces on the Russian border and 4,000 civilians are ready to join. Military spending hits 5.4% of GDP, highest in NATO. I'm so proud about this. As a citizen of EU, NATO and Estonia, I'm so proud about this. I feel patriotic. This is the right way to do things. For the first time, Estonia stations troops in Narva, our most eastern city. It's a Russian-speaking city, and these guys in Narva who are living in Narva, the Russians, they wanna be in like part of Russia, but no, not under our watch. On May the 9th, Russia blasted its Victory Day parade across the river with loudspeakers and giant screens. Now Estonian soldiers train there for urban warfare. Yes, we do. The US gave Estonia HIMARS in 2025. Now I gotta say, they didn't give them to us. We bought them. We paid massive amounts of money for them, and we are not a rich country. We're a very small country. So for us, it's a massive sacrifice to buy expensive United States weapons, and we're doing it. We are sacrificing the monetary income of our citizens for the security, and we're buying US weapons. Again, I believe it's the right course of action. Estonia has held live fire drills to participate in rapid long-range strikes with an 80-kilometer reach. Our new military doctrine here in Estonia that we follow to the pinpoint accuracy is to destroy Russian war machine when war starts, even before, preemptively, in Russia, from 100 kilometers from Estonia, to destroy it all in there, because when they reach the border, that's when we have failed already. So we're buying capabilities to burn everything from Estonian border to St. Petersburg, just make it a burning field. Every car, every soldier, every ship, we have anti-ship missiles, every tank, every train. And not only HIMARS, we're buying massive amounts of 155mm ammunition. The army is scaling up its training programs. Civilians are joining. Families drill evacuations. Children get basic military educations in schools. The government just mandated that every new building has to have a bomb shelter. So they're building them now like they do in Finland with bomb shelters. Estonia is cutting Russian influence. No new visas, no Kremlin media on the cable, no power grid ties. Yeah, we cut the power from Russia, but now only connected to Europe. From 2024, Russian passport holders can't even vote in Estonia anymore. By 2030, all schools will teach in Estonian. So I'm telling you, if you're watching this video, you ever think, what did you do? Small country, you cannot help Ukraine. I'm reading it all to you. We're doing all we can. We're actually, taxes are getting really high here in Estonia. It hurts the residents of my country. It hurts my countrymen. People are actually suffering because of lack of money. And this is a national choice for security, what we do. So if you have Spanish people who don't want to pay 5% for NATO, I heard about it. I cannot stand it. And in my eyes, it's a cowardice choice, because we have to pay that price. And now I bring you German Chancellor Merz 2 days ago, who said this, and I quote, "For far too long, we in Germany didn't want to hear our Baltic neighbors warning about Russia's imperialistic policies. We have recognized this mistake, and there is no going back from this realization," Chancellor Merz. And the thing is, ever since 1991 to 2022, the Baltics, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, we always spoke one message to the Europe. We had to fight Merkel. Merkel was fully under Putin's influence with the cheap gas. We had to scream, what are you doing? It's heroin you're ingesting. Your economies are now addicted to Russian oil and gas. And Merkel didn't listen for, 10 plus years she did that. And now finally, there's a chancellor in Germany and there are other leaders in Europe who finally open their eyes and listen to the voice of reason. The Baltics, the Finland and Poland. I'm so glad this is happening. They're reacting slow, but they're waking up. Now, my friends, we'll travel to Russia. Let's take a look at a very short look into Russian economy. Because we have now two people who are the most important in Russian economy. Elvira Nabiullina, who is the chief of the Central Bank of Russia. And then we have also the Russian finance minister. I will tell you what those two most important Russian economic persons are saying. Nabiullina, chief of Central Bank, says Russia's resources are now exhausted. Without investment and reforms, we stall. Since the invasion, Russian National Wealth Fund dropped by a third from $107 billion to $35 billion. Oil price, by the way, ever since the 12-day war ended between Israel and Iran, with the United States, of course, also, it ended very abruptly, as you can see. This is where it started, this is where it ended, obviously. As soon as it ended, oil dropped 6% in 2 days. This is, 6%, not much, but for a country for which this 6% means tens of billions of dollars, which is Russia, this is massive. This is a massive drop in their budget revenues again. It's going to drop more. So Russian economy is pretty much screwed. I've said it for 3 years that yes, they can pump up their military-industrial complex with the 100 billion they have in the welfare fund. But when that money runs out, which it has right now, will in 2025, they will stall and then they will have a recession and then their economy will collapse. To the end of this video, I want to end your week with a funny, peculiar, good kind of vibes. I want to end the video with good vibes, yes. SBU had to bribe Russian customs officers to transport sanctioned equipment for Operation Spiderweb, said by Maluk. Thing is, for Spiderweb, they had to get the drones, they had to get the mobile homes. It was a truck carrying these kind of mobile homes, the squared homes. And these are sanctioned goods into Russia. So Russian-owned customs workers had to be bribed. So if they were not corrupt, they could have said no, and there was no Operation Spiderweb. But since they were corrupt, since Putin's Russia always has been corrupt, it's the way how he does things. This very same corruption is what the Ukrainians used to get into Russia, to smuggle these weapons, these drones into Russia, and to attack 1/3 of Russia's nuclear-capable bomber fleet. It was about autonomous houses with solar panels and EcoFlow batteries. Due to the sanctioned status of these components, problems arose at the customs, which were resolved by bribery. It's so ironic that when Putin, how do you resolve corruption in your country? First of all, you gotta have uncorrupted, efficient police force, which Putin doesn't want because he wants a loyal police force, not uncorrupt one. So he gets their loyalty, sometimes with nepotism, sometimes with money. Secondly, the politicians are corrupt. The whole system is designed to be corrupt, to steal from the people. So with that kind of system, everybody steals because it's tolerated. Everybody down to the customs officer who takes that money to allow that mobile home go into Russia, although it's under sanctions. Not knowing that in that mobile home there is 117 drones that will take out 1/3 of their nuclear-capable bomber fleet. I mean, this is so ironic, man. This is Putin's own policies of guiding Russia into corruption and theft for 20 years, pay him back. Weaponized against himself. But my friends, talking about how it hits back or how karma gets you, I bring you even another crazier karma story. It turns out that it was the lions stolen from Mariupol that took revenge on the Kherson animal kidnapper. Here is the video. This is the guy who is a traitor from Ukraine. He switched sides and he was, ever since Russia occupied Crimea in 2014, he betrayed Ukraine, started to be a pro-Russian simp. Well, Russian media reported that 2 lionesses and 1 lion stolen by Russians in Mariupol had been brought to the Daiga Safari Park a year before the attack. It is reported that Oleg Zubkov, who was attacked on June 22nd, was hospitalized in Belgorod in critical condition. So these very lions he stole from Ukraine now had their revenge. I'm not going to show the whole video and what they did. But anyway, the lion stealer, the traitor, is now gone. He's demilitarized. He's sleeping with the fishes, knocked out cold by these Ukrainian lions. Wow, wee wow. My friends, I hope you enjoyed this video. You did enjoy this video, and it's Friday, so please do enjoy your weekend from me also. I will see you on Monday. If you don't know what to do on your weekend and you want to know more about these funny stories that I just told you, there's massive amounts of crazy, funny stories in this book, because in war, stuff happens that it's hard to describe, but I did my best. I put it all in this book for you, my friends. Go and get it for your grandmother also. Links in the description below. Until my next video, my friends, Slava Ukraini, and bye-bye. Call out one-sided narratives and think critically about the stories shaping our world. I can only promote brands I vet, so I think you will find Ground News as valuable as I do. Thank you, Ground News, for sponsoring today's video.